Welcome to Advanced Cybersecurity course. In this module, I will hack an vulnerable operating system. But before I do that, I would like to narrate a story as usual. Jimmy is an honest cybersecurity specialist. Recently, he found out a lot of anomalies about his rogue colleagues. Now, he is in dilemma what to do. What is the best way to approach these rogue colleagues? How he can mitigate the issues. So, one day he reached to his manager, informed everything about these rogue colleagues. Thereby, his rogue colleagues are caged and all these anomalies are stopped. After that, Jimmy removed all the information from his database so that nobody can find who actually informed about his rogue colleagues. Now let's compare this story with our actual cybersecurity practice. The first step of this story, we had that Jimmy was an honest cybersecurity expert and he was very confused about his rogue colleagues. So he needs to gather information about his rogue colleagues. So how he can actually do that? In the first steps of cybersecurity, we say that there is a gathering of information. So we can do that by OSINT, that is open source intelligence, and this open source intelligence can be gathered from the internet or the various vulnerability scanner. What is the vulnerability scanner? You'll come to know after a short period. But these are the actual tool that we use for gathering information. So this is the first step of cybersecurity. And later on of the story, we found that Jimmy was anxious how to deal with the situation. What is the weakness of these rogue employees? How he can actually mitigate the issues. So he found that actually if he can report his operation manager, he can do necessary actions. So these are a lot of things he has worked out. So this step can be termed in scanning, in the voice of cybersecurity, because in scanning stage what we do, we use number of penetration testers like Kali Linux, a very renowned operating system, Nessus, a well paid vulnerability scanner, a free OpenVAS. This is also an penetration tester and vulnerability scanner. So we use numerous tools to find the weakness of a software or a target on a web page. Afterwards, we heard in the story that Jimmy reported the manager and he told all the ins and outs of the rogue employees, and finally manager took the access and he mitigated the problems. So this gaining access can be one of the vital important in cybersecurity, and in this chain actually we can gain access by similarly exploiting the software vulnerabilities. We can crack the password, we can do the phishings and also social engineering like utilizing your Facebook, Twitter account and to gain valuable informations. So by accumulating all those methods, we can actually penetrate through the system. Likewise, in the story, the knowing about the manager and other exploits, Jimmy actually reached the managers. So it's similar in that nature. And finally, after getting all the information disclosed in the operating system, manager sent the rogue employees to the jail. So that exploitation stage is done by number of nmap skips, Metasploitable console. So a lot of things can be done. We can use zero-day exploits. These are actually the exploits which are never been discovered. Okay, and also the payloads, the number of trojans, ransomware, virus that can be utilized to gain valuable information and to penalize the target. So this is the fourth stage of cybersecurity. And finally, to safe exit, Jimmy erased everything from his computers. So that is can be similar as covering track stage of the cybersecurity chain. We do that by disabling the auditing system, clearing the log system of the operating system. We can modify the logs to make a fake entry in fake registry files, and finally we do that removing all the files and folders created, so the forensic expert or the victim has no idea how he was hacked or did anything. So enough of the theory. Now we'll go in practical to do in hand how to hack a vulnerable operating system. So to process this attack, we need a penetration tester like Kali Linux, and also need a vulnerable machine, that is Metasploitable too. So what is Kali Linux? Kali Linux is world's most renowned operating system for penetration testing. It has number of exploits and payloads to hack a target and to find its vulnerabilities. So at first I am logging in with my password. And secondly, I am ensuring my Metasploitable is absolutely working fine. So this is the console of my Metasploitable framework. I told you earlier that it is actually a target, and it's a very small operating system that is built in Linux, and its main purpose is to test various targets and to check whether the vulnerabilities, how we can get and how we can exploit the targets. So right now I am typing the IP address. So I am typing ifconfig. So by that it will show the IP address of this machine. So it said 192.168.0.147. so this is the IP address. That means the address of this virtual machine. So I'm going to my Kali Linux framework. Opening a terminal. Now what I'll do, I'll scan the vulnerability of that dummy machine. So I need a vulnerable scanner, and I'll use Nmap for this. Nmap is one of the most renowned vulnerable penetration testing software that is inbuilt in Linux, Kali Linux. Okay, so I'm typing the command. So I'm typing sudo, then nmap -sv. It is actually checking the versions of various services of that operating system. What is that will come a very short while. Dot 0 dot 147, and I'm typing enter. So it will ask my password, because this type of operation need admin privilege. Within a short time it will scan through Nmap and find out the vulnerabilities and the banners. Here the SV means the versions, so I am trying to locate the banners and versions of that various services. You see, Nmap has finished my scanning and it has found a number of vulnerabilities. This is the port number, and this is the services, and this is the version number that I am really interested in. So FTP is file transfer protocol. I think you all are aware of these services. So there are telnets, SMTP, and other things. HTTP is the web portals. So it has the Apache web portal. We'll discuss later on. So I'll exploit the first vulnerability. So you see, it is written in VS FTPD version 2.3.4. What I can actually do, I'll copy this thing and search in internet for this vulnerability. So I'm pasting the version number and I'll write exploit. So it will show various exploit if it is available in the net. So you see, by surfing the internet I find number of exploit available for these versions. So this is a vulnerable version. For example, in the GitHub there is a solution of this. So I click there and GitHub will show someone has already programmed a vulnerability exploitation for these versions. So we can really install this thing and implement that exploitation. But actually I am not interested in here. I'll test the target with my own repositories of my Kali Linux. So for that reason, what I'll do, I'll type MSF console, because this is one of the most famous console to exploit any vulnerabilities. So let's do that. I'm clearing my screen. I type clear, so I cleared the screen so that we can see it much better. Okay, now I am typing MSF console. MSF console. MSF console is an inbuilt system on Kali Linux. It has number of exploits, so that exploit can be used to hack a target and to see its vulnerabilities. So it is loading. For the first time of MSL load, it will take some time, but afterwards it will be very fast enough. So you see, MSF console has started and it says it has total 2376 exploit and 1398 payloads. Payloads are actually virus trojans, and 11 knobs. So what are these? You will be shortly knowing this thing. Now for my versions, I told earlier that it is VS FTPD 2.3.4. so to search any vulnerabilities that is available in my exploit database, I am typing search, then VS FTPD. So within a short time it showed, yes, it has some vulnerabilities. You see, here is written VS FTPD and the version name is 2.3.4. and earlier we have seen in the nmap scan we have found this, the FTP version name is VS FTPD and 2.3.4. so you see in the console what we have found, that it is the exact same version number. That means that version number is actually tallying with the thing, and you see the rank is excellent, and it was first discovered in 2011. So I hope this VSFTPD exploit will work. So to use it, what I will do, use afterwards the name of the complete exploit. So you type E and type X Unix FTP VS. So I have typed the complete name of this exploit, and you said after that I press enter. So it has actually entered in the payloads. So with that exploit I will try to see what are the information it needs, because I need to put some manual informations to this exploit. So I type show info. By typing show info I get this skin. So here it said what is the name of this backdoor. It is VSFTPD exploit, and the platform is Unix. That is very much pertinent to our own target or vulnerable machines. It is command based, and you see in the basic operation command the RH host, that is actually remote host IP address it is expecting. The port it is said it is 21, and if you check, see the port number is 21, so our port number is correct. We don't need to change the port number, and what only we need to do is to check the IP address so that it can send its payload to that machine. So to do that, what we will do, so we are typing set HOSTS remote host, that is the name of this parameter, and the IP address of our own server, that is the target server, I mean 192.167.0.147. let me check whether I have typed it correctly or not. You see, this is our server, the target server, and it says 192.168.0.147. this is the correct IP address of our target machine. So I have typed it correctly, and after that I press enter, and now I again type show info, and now you see the payload's IP address is set here, and it was earlier set, so I don't need to really bother about that. Now what I need to do is command to exploit these targets. So to do that, I'll just simply type exploit. So within a very short time it will send a payload to our target machine and it will make an exploit. Let's see. So within a short time, you see the Metasploit has exploited the target and it said found the shell. So I would like to make sure that it has correctly hacked my target. So for that reason I am typing ifconfig in the shell, ifconfig, to know the IP address of who am I. You see, it said the IP address is 192.168.0.147. so now I'd like to type who am I. You see, it is root, so I got the root privilege, and if I want to know the directories and whatever it is in this operating system, we type ls, and you see the same thing is happening here. What is going to be happening in this Metasploitable framework? So this is how we could successfully hack a vulnerable operating system. And you see, the thing is pretty easy. We only need to know and understand the methodologies, and these are very easy if you understand it properly. Thanks for your patience. See you soon.